walk-in, and he's not happy with it, but Tom's made the call. Perhaps it's Faker who's ultimately decided, but at the end of the day, he is going to be playing that Lovers duo.
Faker is no stranger to playing the Galio. One of my favorite Rift rivals was when Faker and Rookie were both there, both of them at the height of the Galio meta.
Yeah, I mean,
and looked really, really good. It's always been a treat.
Oh,
Lazy Feel, this is a treat for him and not one that he really wants. I think knows that he's dead as he throws down the barrier. There's the Wind Becomes Lightning. His owner is going to make sure that the Ezreal dies, and over the wall goes Sponge, understanding that moves over, gets full information. All right, there's the weave as well. Andal flashing over, looking for Carrier. Hasn't pressed that W just yet, as there it is. Into the wall they go. Seismic Shove is fantastic. Heroic entrance. Not getting the knockups they're looking for, but Andal's still in trouble. Carrier going to be going down first, though, as it's both supports lying on the floor. The barrier comes in. Lazy Feel is still going to get cut down by the feathers, and Ucal, oh no, doesn't manage to hit the rocks as the flash goes forward.
Did he get stopped because the rocks were still there?
I'm actually not sure.
Looked a little bit weird.
Well, we'll see maybe on the
We'll
replay.
check in.
I thought he just went back.
Oh no, there weren't any rocks.
Yeah, I think he just went back, but are you moving away that?
But it was weird, like, because you can't cancel Justice Punch, right? Like, so as soon as you're starting to do that, like, something had to stop him. But I was sure the rocks weren't there on the board for DRX. Have to see them find a bit of an angle here as Sponge even finding an interrupt on Carrier. There's a cease and desist as well. Seismic Shove pushes him back. Carrier's just dead. Heroic entrance.
How he's going to pilot this champ. He's already had one good fight as Doran.
Yeah, Rich going to be like finding the ultimate. And immediately onto Doran here, and oh, Sponge. Perfect positioning once again. Continues charging, but that's a great...
Has another opportunity to grab an additional.
Yeah. Andal is level 6, did manage to make it there as the wall comes through. They're looking for Gumayusi. They will be giving away a few of these grubs, but Gumayusi is going to die. Does have to use all of the summoner spells as Ucal could almost just die here, and Gumayusi will survive. T1 take 4 out of the 6 grubs in the early stages of the game as well, and I'd say if you're a T1 fan, you're real happy with how that one went.
I mean, I told everyone he's the one you can trust.
Never mind. Maybe don't be... Oh, never mind. No, he's fine.
He's the one you can trust. And they ended up giving up the grubs as well. Now Rich is isolated. Sponge comes over, does have ult flash.
Yeah, let's see whether they can deny this first turret, because that'll mean feats of strength going over to T1. Faker. Let's see it. Okay, there is the public execution, and Doran will be going down first. Oh, they take their time! They take too long! And he's able to get the kill onto Rich. Sponge versus Faker here. I think it's probably still pretty good for Faker, despite the fact that he is Galio, not necessarily good at dealing with physical
first turret as well, which would be feats for them.
Yep, that's
they won't get it.
Strength. So T1 will be able to collect that one for themselves. We're on a champion that can just brawl with you early on in the game.
And now Doran's going to grab this turret as well. And man, T1 snowballing this gold lead. 2 turret. Yeah, I mean, I think in this fight the answer is no. They're just not set up for it at all. I mean, they're not even...
get almost towards the burn urn, perhaps. Unless he does go for, you know, something else. Could be a little bit more of a battle Galio, but that is going to be second.
Basically everything but that first dragon. And they're looking for more here.
Yep, Ona going in. Oh, the Seismic Shove is gorgeous, but he does have that Crescent Guard. They're trying to block these dashes. The Xin Zhao goes down as Rich zoning Gumayusi out of this fight. Sponge just getting the heck out of there. Red buff will be secured here by Doran, but he might die for it. That could be a little bit of a problem. Faker able to make his way out as there's a public execution, this time onto Faker, but he creates the distance he's looking for. Featherstorm comes through from Gumayusi. He's still at full health. As the heroic entrance, once again, not finding a lot of value. Decent knockup. Faker is likely to go down, but he trades for Sponge. Ucal's over the wall. The Seismic Shove onto Doran. He finds the big rock. Carrier, is he able to get out? The battle dance says absolutely, because he just dashes all over the place, and they don't have infinite rocks. They don't have the most steadfast presence, but they do have Rich. And let's see whether he can grab a double here. The grand entrance is decent. Seismic Shove misses. And oh my god, they had like 20 health between them.
I mean, Guma held his flash until the very, very end.
Oh, True Shot Barrage. Oh, it gets him. And Carry gets taken down. Andal, big giggle for that one.
This is a big win though for DRX.
Oh,
I mean, they take a kill lead here. The gold lead is thinned out significantly. Only 2,000 behind. That'll get even smaller once this turret falls here. Rich will get the whole thing, but the rest of his team is already on his way out. I know, we have more.
Oh dear. Gumayusi's dead. There it is. Coming in towards his top side. And Rich is going to join, looking to try and get rid of Doran. There is still an outer turret up there. So he does have a bastion of safety he can head towards, and Ona could make this interesting. Keeper's Verdict comes down, as there is the public execution. DRX looking to dive on top of the jungler, but Sponge is already down. Meanwhile, there's a battle on multiple fronts. Doran and Carrier looking like they're almost winning as LazyFeel wants to take down Doran, and he will be able to get there. In the meantime, Rich is limping away from the battle, and Ona says absolutely not. And then Andil can do absolutely nothing. Gumayusi, he'll turn up extraordinarily late, probably just to help his team grab this Arakan buff.
LazyFeel is in no man's land as well. Looking for some damage here onto Guma, but I think his fate is sealed.
Yeah, let's see whether LazyFeel can make this interesting. Arakan is on his team at the moment as LazyFeel. Oh man, I got so excited that something could almost happen.
Yeah, a little bit interesting.
Yeah. Gumayusi pressed barrier, so I guess he got that.
Well, I mean, now he's done enough damage here to where they can't really Otacon safely, and they're going to have to back, so this area is so free to take. And DRX don't have the damage just yet. I mean, their Ezreal's on 2.5 items, but they don't have the damage to crush Otacon in return. They're going to look for a dive on a Faker instead.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird, that whole situation, as Sponge presses the ultimate button. Faker gets out of the turret range. True Shot Barrage is going to help aid it. And UCal not wanting to take any chances. He's going to use that ultimate just to make sure that they have as many people in the area as possible.
I mean, you get Faker, you should be able to get this turret. So you get something in return for that dragon that did go over. This took a lot of resources to do so. A lot of health bars getting low means it's tough to actually take this out. As Guma's splitting.
Yeah, he should be able to get this in a turret as well. Carrier is making sure that he's being as frustrating as possible as Andil finds a heroic charge. He's the only one here. Keeper's Verdict comes down. There's a public execution as, of course, Ambessa can show up at a moment's notice. Doran is just so tanky, though. He gets over the wall. No one's dead quite yet, but Gumayusi is now going to turn up, and now it's Ona's turn. Oh, he gets pushed into the seismic shot, but it doesn't matter. He is so tanky, it is absurd. And Doran is still raining these shock blasts forward. I mean, tank Jace is so frustrating, man.
I guess it's just a trick, man. It seems like you can kill Jace because you're used to killing Jace all the time, but you can't kill him.
He used to be tank. Well, he's not that tanky, I guess. If Richard comes and kills him when he's on like 0 health. That's a lot of value from that Featherstorm as the True Shot Barrage sails by. Sponge in the back of this pit right now. Another opportunity for UCal as the fists are doing the talking for Sponge here at this stage. Not enough dashes there, unfortunately.
Ended up cleaning up a lot of those kills there in that last moment. And
all right, we need a Gleaming Quill steal. That's what we need. Oh, okay, there's a teleport. Remember, if this goes down in favor of DRX, they don't care.
It's happening live, but Guma actually gets so much value out of his ultimate, but then ultimately still goes down. Okay.
All right, Gumayusi once again trying to get some value out of some stuff. Triple seismic shove, and down goes the Xayah, and it's a free ticket.
I mean, they're just feeling like because they have these reses, they're going to be able to take out Baron. Still fairly greedy here from DRX.
Yeah, a few things on cooldown now as Carrier is trying to battle dance around this fight. Andil off to the side, Keeper's Verdict. This could be so valuable, but instead he holds onto it. Heroic entrance coming on down there as they get a few knockups. Heroic charge onto the Galio, but he's so tanky. As T1, the more of these send homes that they can get without losing anyone, it's very important. 100 gold going over to Faker here as Rich. I'm not sure about that one, my friend, as he's going to dash around the fight and look for an opportunity to get something done, but he is just going to die as Doran likely to fall as well. A 1-for-1 as far as top lane. For T1, Carrier getting over the wall here as Doran, mega tanky. He's got his Spear of Sojourn now, so he's doing a bit more damage on top of everything, but man, it's looking a little bit frightening. All right, there's a Weave as well. Okay, UCal, that is an aggressive move. The True Shot Barrage doing so much damage. Another great shove, but Andil still going to be lying on the floor. Sponge goes in. It's going to be the secure of the soul, and this heroic entrance is looking pretty good. Still Ambessa trying to get some work done. Owner is so tanky, it doesn't make any sense. The rock's not going to be enough, but LazyFeel is able to get that kill in the end. He's going to have to be a real hero now, though, because there are 3 T1 members looking for him and UCal.
He's got his passive. Maybe he gets out.
Yep, Grand Entrance coming down. Seismic Shove is decent as Carrier. Will he actually go down? That's the question. He's trying to back, and it looks like he will survive. LazyFeel missing a bunch of buttons, and there's a flash forward from Gumayusi. 432 gold. Lying on the floor now is LazyFeel, unfortunately, and T1, they should be able to take what they want.
This doesn't feel like a pro game, Atlas.
This feels, yeah, this is fast and loose.
I don't even know what to analyze, you know? Aware of it. Rich going to teleport back in. This one more reasonable. Look at the flank angle here for Carrier, though. Unseen.
Oh, no. Andal's going to whiff it. They can't see the health bars as Heroic Charge might make up for it. Doran is so tanky though. Stop engaging on this guy. As Carrier will be able to dash his way out. True Shot Barrage almost managed to steal it. Seismic Shove onto 2 again. But they've got health bars for days. They've got buffs all over the place. And DRX are just running out of hope in this game.
I think a lot of why this game looks so weird is because both of these teams have such a defensive advantage through these choke points with the taunt, with the rocks, with the shoves. But T1 are just so far ahead at this point. They have positional advantage there. Carrier is going to get caught. I don't know how much it matters.
Yeah, LazyField, yeah, he's going to be flashing away from that one very quickly.
That's going to be an inhibitor going down here.
Oh, there's the flash taunt. Going to connect onto 2 of them. In goes Andal, though, to try and stop this one from happening. But LazyField, in the blink of an eye, he disappeared. The Ambassador as well. Sorry, Rich. But it's a gray screen for now, and it looks like T1, they may not be stopping here. They might just be finishing this game off. Their first win on red side, and a pretty good sign if you want Baron to make a comeback in terms of the battle of the groups. The world champs finally on the board here with a victory over DRX here in game 1 at least. So I guess not necessarily finally on the board. Still need to do it one more time. This was a much better showing.
Damage, but we'll just be the Lee Sin ultimately here. And, you know, the thing is, the draft in isolation for DRX is like a...
T1, I just feel like they spike so incredibly hard in the early game. All right, there's a flash cocoon, and that looks like first blood pretty comfortably. Valkyrie away here from LazyField as best he can, as Sponge, Warrior Tricksters to get himself over the wall.
All Owner has to...
In this fight, that should be objective number 1 going on over to T1, as well as their feat of strength that they've already picked up with that first blood. Does mean that they are poised for the victor. In fact, the only... Okay, let's have a look at this. Just trying to clear out the wave as best he can is Rich. Fellow's Breath going to be necessary there, but the Cocoon going to land. A lot of burst damage. There's the headshot, and boom! That's it. Carrier's going to be able to pick it up in the end.
And is under a ton of pressure. He's playing against the defending world champions here. And look, they gave him Corki, but this is not about, like, man,
powerful, right? Like, this is before they just started winning every world. It's like, this
when
was 2022.
They win everything. And they win this.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
Ace in the hole.
A lot because you're super squishy. The enemy team has ways to catch you. But when you have full vision control and full map control and a massive lead, I mean, this is just going to be T1 getting everything they want. This turret is next on the list.
Yep. Yukal going, these honest 5v5s just won't exist.
And, I mean, look at the zoning they can do with these traps as well. Caitlyn is known to shoot far.
Yeah, she does do that.
In terms of range. And they just grab this Herald for free.
Personally, as Faker could be in trouble here, as the train comes down. This time it's going to land. Nice little chain CC there from Rich, but he's well and truly by himself. And he's going to have to try and flash away. The flash forward from Owner, and he kicks him in the back of the head. That's going to send him to the death chain.
He said he is a big enjoyer of that. Faker may be in trouble really for real this time, maybe?
Yeah. He's not going to be able to make that flash work, as Owner is like, yeah, you're on your own, buddy.
Owner's like, DRX.
Yeah.
Or wait, maybe it's the Wukong, or maybe it's the...
It could honestly be any of them at this stage.
Yeah. This is a rough one, man. This is our first, like, real stomp, like...
Oh! Doran's dead! There we go. Yukal collects his second.
That's 3. 3 of these picks they've gotten where T1 and just... You know, this is one of the first times, too, for voting for player of the match where it gets really tricky for me. Because you had a really dominant performance from Owner and Doran in game 1, but, like, it's kind of the Guma Carrier show in this one. It's very split.
I think I'm probably still on the Owner train.
I think I am, too, to be honest with you, because he's had a good game here, even though it's been kind of quiet.
Yeah. I feel like this is the type of series where you kind of, oh, okay.
Maybe it's not Carrier.
And Carrier is going to die, but LazyField is in a lot of trouble. Still gets himself to relative safety. Gumayushi now in trouble. Yukal comes over. Oh, DRX, have you found an angle to get back in? Owner says no. The equalizer, not exactly the highest of value, but Yukal's the president. They have to keep that guy alive. He is all of the damage here for DRX. The Sponge diving towards Faker, trying to make me into a liar here as he is able to slam down with damage himself. Doran wanting to find an opportunity, but Yukal, too smart, able to walk out of the way of...
In live. I want to break this replay down too much because we are having some action in live.
Yeah, you can see Rich going to flash towards the wall and not over it. Faker is going to be gifted the kill, I believe. There it is. Zona once again in control of this one. We're still waiting for the Wukong to turn up as he gets into the pit. Can they deny the solar kick? Says absolutely not. Yeah, I think POM going over to Ona sounds pretty good to me, as Andal is dead. And the turrets they're going to be able to take, utilizing that team-wide GA. So they'll have a trap wall set up so that T1 cannot be stopped. And yeah, they'll get the information. That's really cool. Still, the Baron is going to go down. There's nothing that they can do about it.
Yeah.
I
don't know, I'm at a loss for this one, Atlas.
Yeah,
even if he dies, by the way, it's fine.
It doesn't really matter. Equalizer goes down. Yukal is the target. They've decided to kill him, and thus he will die. Andal going to go down there as well. And, yep, Keria gets to buy some items. Shirelia's going to be put together here as he gets that free trip back home. And with Yukal dead, you can see slumped back in his chair, understands that this game was well and truly on his back. And Sponge, that's an interesting little situation here as T1, they understand that it's going to be really hard to stop them from just taking what they want because they can't even die. As Zona goes in, goes back out, that is going to be inhibitor number 1 going down. Mid lane can fall swiftly afterwards. There's an inner turret still up on the bottom side, so 3 inhibs probably not going to happen here, but a dead Nexus, that's certainly on the cards. There are still minions conga lining their way in. 1 Nexus turret remains. As Andal, that Eclipse Shield not going to be enough. The train sails by without causing too much harm to anyone. And Yukal, I think, just going to park himself on the fountain because there's nothing he can do to stop the onslaught of T1. A 2-0. And Baron doubles the amount of kills their group has been able to pick up because the world champs been able.
Welcome back to the space, everyone, as T1 go up 1-0 on DRX. His group Baron are trying to get anything that they can here in the LCK Cup. Digon alongside Chronicler and Wadid in that last match there. It started off like, yep, T1's got it. And then all of a sudden, it turned into a slobber knocker, Cronny.
That's one way to describe it. I do appreciate your enthusiasm. I think we kind of knew, I think this always happens with T1, even given their world performance. In the LCK, that's not how they looked, and I think this is a continuation of that. This was a team that was known particularly for their snappy team fight and objective calls, and thus far, they ended up getting the win, which is the thing that matters most, but the way that they got there, suboptimal.
Yeah, and you were talking about the draft as well. Like, I agree on that point. Like, for example, picking Rakan into Talia and Poppy seems quite weird, and also in-game it didn't work out really well. And the details were not really on point at all. But we don't care. It's just starting of the season, and it's just the first season for the T1 side, so we don't care that much.
Yeah, it feels like they're shaking off the rust, whereas DRX, again, playing with Lazy Feel as a substitute, still trying to put it together, although they did find that win in their first series. And at this point here in our replay, T1 are ahead, and they opt into a questionable fight.
The game here kind of takes a turn for the wacky. It is not necessarily the fact that Ona takes a damage here because he's in and ends up staying alive for a lot longer. Even though it ends up going down, a lot of resources have to be invested. But taking these type of narrow jungle corridor fights into Talia in particular, I think is just asking to get into trouble. The amount of coverage that Yukal has with his E is kind of crazy. And as Rich comes in, this could have easily been where they lost the game. They don't, because DRX are unable to fully execute, but it was close.
Yeah, for me, this is one of the moments when T1 actually disrespect the enemy team, because they were kind of ready for this fight. And also, as you mentioned, you are playing as Talia Poppy in the jungle. I don't feel like you are really favorite in that fight. And that's one of the moments that when T1 is not having a successful starting of the season, and they really need to stop this.
Lazyfield does get the feels good snipe there at the end, but it doesn't, it's fine, right? And I think with a lot of the plays in this game, the biggest difference between these two teams is still the sense of what do you actually gain when you win a fight, and DRX was just never able to match there at any given point.
Well, you know what we gained from that last fight? Another fight. That fight was at 19 minutes. The next one, 20 minutes over at Otacon, right at the top there. They go straight back to it.
Yeah, I think the huge difference between DRX and T1 is in general. DRX is looking for the fight really great, you know. The way how they look for the fight and the way how they engage on them is great, but at the end they are getting nothing, you know? They're just fighting for the kills.
And here, the DRX fight is so split up. I don't think Andil really hit the mark with the Poppy. Felt like he wasn't able to consistently isolate key targets, which is one of the main reasons why the pick is so good. And if they just... I know Doran was tanky, and we'll add that in a little bit, but if they turn on him, they're completely... I think they can. I think they really have some split call issues, and it's making these fights really messy.
I mean, you have to think about it. It's not the killing game, you know? You have to do something after the kills, right? You get the kills, and you have to move forward. Do you do the objectives, or do you get the structures, or I don't know, you have to kill the Nexus, not the champions.
Or even set up for a future objective. And
Exactly.
that specifically that was missing. It never felt like DRX got a substantial enough lead. It was always going to be coming out of fights, which T1 would win.
Yeah, well, the fights weren't too bad, and we know that because LazyField played in Challengers earlier and did super well there. So the hands were there, brains not so much. And speaking of brains of the operation, we're going to go to the new guy over for T1 because his job wasn't necessarily being the brains, but the brawn. He looked like, obviously he's playing Tank Jace, but he looked like straight up a boxer here.
You might not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. Don't be a KDA Andy. Don't fall for the, oh, Doran, he died 7 times, I think it was by the end. Do not be fooled. This man takes a beating better than anyone in the LCK. Look at him go. Unfazed.
I mean, he's taking so much damage, and that enables T1 to win the fight. And also, I'm not sure if it's a global thing. In Korean culture, it's normal to just, when you join new company, you start from the bottom. Even though you're really good at something else, you have to make coffee for your boss. That's your first job, you know. Maybe Doran is doing that thing in P1 right now.
My favorite part is that, like, I'm pretty sure at the end of that whole, because that fight went on for another minute, he does die, but he had a couple of other moments where he's just taking a big hit. And the reason why we highlight it is because, again, I don't think this game, T1, and I think you could see it on their faces, well, they go back to the coaching booth, and the coach will not be like, good job, guys, that was a clean win to DRX. They're expecting more, right? This is the reigning world champion, even with the swap. But they got the win, and that's in the end all that matters. But the way that we go about it, I think might be looking to see them tighten up in game 2.
By the way, that's not the Doran. I mean, the one that getting hit by.
The one getting punched, but he keeps getting back up.
All right.